Hey everyone, my name's Melina Much. I'm going to be your professor for Political Science 3055 Advanced Research Methods. This is for your fall semester 2023 at Cal Poly Pomona, and I'm really excited to be working with you guys. In this particular video, we're going to talk about the syllabus and the major structure of the course. We're going to talk about some of your assignments, and we're going to talk a little bit about the software that you guys are going to use. While we actually aren't going to get into that specific software until a few weeks in, I want you guys to maybe start thinking about downloading that and getting that stuff going sooner than later, so we don't have any of the technical issues when I'm expecting you guys to start actually working with the platform. So I'm going to screen share and show you guys our syllabus. If not in this video, in the next, I'm going to be talking through our Canvas website, because most of our stuff is going to be happening on Canvas. But yeah, so this video is just going to give you all of the bearings you need to move forward with the class. Obviously, my name's Melina Much. I prefer to go by Professor Much or Prof Much, whichever works for you. Let's keep it professional. I'm very, I think, an accessible and easy to talk to professor, but I do like to keep things as professional as possible. My office hours are going to be on Zoom Mondays and Wednesdays, 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Please come to those. I'm really excited to work with you guys and talk with you guys about what you have going on during the semester and any ways that I can help you more concretely. It can be really easy to feel kind of disjointed in these asynchronous classes. So please come to office hours. If those times don't work for you, shoot me a Discord message and we'll set up another time. My email is obviously on there for CPP, but I also would really encourage you guys to use Discord. I've used it in some of my other classes, and it allows me to get back to you guys almost right away, especially because I'm sitting on my computer, I'm working, I see Discord ping, and I can do it right away. My inbox is inevitably super full, but that Discord space is just for you guys. And so that's one of the bits of power of Discord, is that I can get back to you really quickly. Okay, so obviously 3055 advanced research methods. This is kind of like an overview of what we're doing in the class, but for our video, we're going to talk about our main learning objectives right now. So the first is to demonstrate the ability to construct research questions and arguments. This connects this class with your research design class, which teaches you how to build good questions, but we want to kind of reframe and refresh that idea as you go in to start building your own questions and testing them within the framework of this class. We're going to start to dip our toes into quantitative methods. So we want to recognize the basic principles and tenets of how inferential statistics work. So we're learning some stats and learning how to use them. We then want to be able to demonstrate the ability to properly evaluate data using R, right? So typically this class in the past has been taught with a software called SPSS. And while it is really accessible and functional for basic statistics, R is really what academia and what industry is going to want you to be using. It's a more flexible and powerful software. And while the language is a little bit more complicated, if you can get it, it's going to take you so far. And I truly believe that just about anybody can learn it if they want to, right? And so I'm going to give you guys an easy and an accessible introduction to R so that you can take that and move that forward with your career. It's a really valuable skill set. So I want you to learn how to do data analysis and be able to do that in R versus a platform like SPSS. R is free and open source, which is another great tenet of it. We want these things to be super accessible. And then additionally, kind of to culminate all of this, we're going to combine all of these skills to understand the material learned in other political science courses and allow you to then build your own political science, right? And build your own research questions and design. It's one of the most important courses in the major, right? It's not like all your other political science courses. The material in this class will actually help train you to be a political scientist, and it'll help you understand all the other classes in your major because you're learning how to read and understand those research papers, right? So it's a really powerful class. There's no required text for this class. Now, if there's any reading or any kind of supplemental stuff I'm going to give to you, it's going to be from an open source book that was actually built in R and on Bookdown. And so in RStudio and on Bookdown. And so it's going to be free and accessible to you, which we love. And so there's not going to be any required text. Because this is an online course, you're required to have access to a computer that can play audio and video. This should be pretty standard. Your computer also has to have access to the internet with supported browsers by Canvas. You guys probably already are there. Preferably you should have a desktop or laptop. and not like a tablet or something like that. I do not think R will work on a tablet. So if you don't have a desktop or laptop, I encourage you to go and look at the library resources sooner than later. I want you guys to be checking your university email, but really Discord is the way to go for us. I've reiterated that. I think you guys are going to like it as well if you're not already using it. And then moving on, the software for the course. We're going to be working with R and RStudio. So R is like the engine, the main powerhouse software. RStudio is a platform that sits above it, an integrated platform that allows you to kind of use R a little bit more functionally. When you open up R, it's going to look a little bit intimidating. It feels like you're hacking and writing code, right? It's just a console. It's a raw console. When you open RStudio, there's more drop-down tabs. It's a little bit more accessible. So we're going to be working with RStudio. You're going to be downloading both. So that's why I said I'm going to give you guys some videos on how to do that sooner than later. Because you have to have enough space on your computer and all of that stuff. You should be fine on that front. If for some reason you do not have enough space on your computer, we do have something called RStudio Cloud, which is just like a cloud version of the software, but there's a limited amount of computing hours on it. I don't think you hit it for the purposes of this class, but I don't want you to rely on this. I want you guys to have R and RStudio downloaded. If you're having trouble with any of that sort of technical stuff, just contact the CPP service desk or me. The library also, like I said, has Wi-Fi hotspots and laptops if you're running into those kind of technical problem. Online course policies, extensions, you got to have internet between the time the class is happening. Canvas will automatically deduct a percentage point for every hour that an assignment is late. This gives you approximately 48 hours to turn any assignment in late. My general policy on extensions is if something real is coming up for you, there's some sort of emergency or classes are coalescing in a way where it's going to be impossible for you to turn something in. I don't want you to be banking on that, but I tend to be erring on the side of giving my students trust with that stuff, but you have to ask early. I do not generally make extensions after a deadline is passed unless it is like a catastrophic emergency. So the big thing about extensions is asking early, ask early. And it can be as simple as a Discord DM, right? Like I'm not asking for anything unreasonable, I don't think, but just talk to me early. In terms of Quizlet, Course Hero, Chegg, generative AI, ChatGPT, just please stay off of it generally, and particularly for the purposes of producing your stuff. I've had students that use ChatGPT to like revise their written work, or they're using it to check their understanding. This I have less of a problem with. But if you're fully generating your final essay off of ChatGPT, like that's bad, right? We don't want to do that. It's not allowing you to learn or think clearly about the topic, in addition to the fact that we know that ChatGPT has this problem with AI hallucination, which just means it can make up stuff and you don't really know where the real stuff starts and stops, and has particular problems with doing that in research contests. It'll fictionalize citations and all sorts of things like that. So just don't use it for those purposes. It's really obvious and not good for you. Any questions on that sort of stuff, you can drop that on the Discord. So let's talk about the course structure a little bit as well. The bulk of your grade is going to come from 3 different components. The first 30% of your grade is going to come from assignments. They're going to be based on the Canvas modules. So as you're completing a module on Canvas, there's going to be some videos, and then there's going to be accompanying questions. Essentially, what we want you to do is as you watch the video, you're going to be jotting down your notes and your answers on those questions. And ultimately, say our first assignment, when week 3 hits, you're going to have like 50 questions that you've already been answering as you go through the modules, and you'll be able to kind of turn that in, but you'll need to revise and rethink it in between. But you're essentially writing down the answers to those questions that are embedded in the modules, and that ends up being turned in as your assignment. There's going to be more details on this in the course structure page in your modules. And so I'll talk about that a bit more in depth there, but just make sure you're actively working on it as you're watching the modules, because it makes it so when you get to week 3 and it's due, you've already kind of been working on it. You're just cleaning up your answers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, 5 different assignments, all worth 30% of your grades. They're all worth about 6%. Make sure you do these. They add up, right? All due on Fridays at midnight, easy peasy. There are going to be 2 practicums, which are functionally exams using R, or some of it's going to be handwritten, like finding the mean of this set. And those are going to be, there's going to be one around midterm and one around finals week. These are going to seem a little bit daunting and a little bit scary. But I guarantee that the course is well paced. And if you're keeping up with your work and you're paying good attention, these are going to feel entirely doable. So there's 2 of those, and they make up the biggest part of your grade at 40%. And then your final paper. So this is where you actually kind of get to be a political scientist. You get to enact these sort of research design processes and your ideas and test your theories and use R to kind of visualize your data. It's really exciting. That's going to be like your final project, 10 to 12 pages of original research paper. This you want to start earlier, probably around midterm. I'm going to start kind of bugging you guys and thinking about ways you can kind of percolate and create ideas about what you'd like to do. That's going to be due week 15, Friday, December 8th. Okay. So the bulk of your grade coming from these 3 assignments. So assignments, practicums, papers, 5 different assignments, 2 different practicums, and 1 paper. Office hours are great ways to get in touch with me. Discord is awesome. Please use it. Standard academic honesty stuff and special assistance. If you need any sort of mental health, student health services, disability services, anything like that, please refer to these. There's also some basic care needs information in here. And this is a broad overview of the course schedule. There's 5 different modules, 5 different assignments, 2 of those practicums, and then the final paper due. So in the beginning, we're kind of rehashing academic research, what it means. In the second module, we're starting to begin our ideas on quantitative analysis. We then start to get into more of like what like the functional stat stuff is. So we're doing t-tests, ANOVAs, we're comparing data. We're trying to then move on in module 4 and see if we have significant differences or how our data is related with chi-square and correlations. And then we're getting to like the bulk and like the meat of the course, which is moving into regressions and presenting data. And that's some of the most fun stuff, in my opinion. So that's kind of our general tempo for the course. I think you guys are going to be really well set up to learn a lot and feel really empowered by your use of R. I think as somebody that studies political methodology, when I first started using R, it was frustrating and it was hard. But the second I kind of started to get a grasp on it, it felt empowering and great. And so I really hope that I'm able to kind of bring you guys along on that journey as well. And I hope you guys are excited and looking forward to the whole semester together.